Hello, Stigma-Free podcast supporters. Morgan Ryan here. I'd like to preface this powerful two-part series with a powerful truth. According to alcoholaddictioncenter.org, around 1/3 of all people convicted of a DUI are repeat offenders. This is a strong sign of addiction. What does an IID do? It changes the behavior and daily habits of the active user. IIDs keep us safe. They're a technology tool, not a punishment, that enhance behavioral change like nothing else can. We hope you find this episode both compelling and hopeful. Smart Start exists to save lives. We refuse to ignore the addiction community for that very reason. We believe change is possible. Start Over Strong, Life After a DUI, a podcast for people, not offenders. Brought to you by Smart Start, the nation's most trusted, judgment-free ignition interlock provider. Hello and welcome to today's episode. This is part 2 of our fascinating interview with Peter Lachnicht. I am Morgan Ryan and this is Stigma-Free IID. Today we're going to continue our conversation with Peter, who is, if you are just now tuning in, a former drug addict, turn recovery and redeemed husband and father, and is also an entrepreneur and business owner. Thank you again and welcome to the show, Peter.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So if you haven't already, I encourage you to listen to part 1 of the episode. Fascinating conversation, Peter, about the history, the inception, and kind of where you are today. I think what I would love to do is focus a little bit more on daily disciplines, habits that you have now that you are in recovery. We talked a lot in the former episode about your program, the support of your wife, the strength of God. Obviously, I want to talk about that and spirituality as well. But can we start with daily disciplines and habits that you have now in terms of what you're doing to stay healthy and healthy-minded?
Yeah, sure. What I've learned is to start my day with prayer and meditation. And, I know, to somebody, an outsider looking in who's not in recovery or not in the program, prayer can even make some sense, but meditation to me, when I was newer in sobriety, it sounded kind of hippie, and I'm like, gosh, I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. Until I got the sponsor who wouldn't work with me until he had me take 10 minutes and meditate every day for 30 days. And I was like, man, I just don't, I don't know about meditating. Like, what do I do? Mm-hmm. Like, how do I meditate? He said, well, you don't have to make it so complicated. Prayer is speaking to your God, and meditating is listening for God.
Wow. Mindset is clearly mission critical for someone in recovery. And you mentioned in the previous episode, you take it 24 hours at a time. Talk to me about how you approach your 24 hours, any daily disciplines that are there. You said you start with prayer and meditation, and really where that concept comes from.
It is 24 hours at a time, one day at a time. In early sobriety, it's minute by minute, man. And it's like, because you can't see beyond. Thankfully, I didn't have this experience, but I sit in rooms and I listen to it and I can understand it. Like, you never get used to the feeling of not being able to drink, right? Like, you can't see past that in early sobriety. Like, somebody tells you, hey, man, this is the worst thing you can tell an alcoholic is, welcome to your recovery program. You're never going to drink again. You're never allowed to drink again. So the program, I think, intentionally says it's just one day at a time. We oftentimes want to, at least myself, like we talked about this recently, I think, is my struggles were guilt, shame, remorse for the past and anxiety for the future. I wanted to rewrite the past and I wanted to pre-write the future. And that's all I could see is like, not living in today. So I think the program intentionally says one day at a time, because it's all we got. Like yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. We don't really know. So the problem with alcoholics when they're in their addiction is you're going to drink over it if you're thinking about what happened a year ago, or you're going to drink over what's maybe going to happen. And that's silly. You got today. So I think that's like the biggest key to the program. Even though early sobriety is minute by minute, like it's freaking, I don't know how to deal with the situation. For 20 years I've drinking, or I've, snorted cocaine every time I have this happen, or whatever the addiction is. It doesn't even have to be substance. It can be, you name it.
What are your thoughts and opinions on replacement addiction? And what I mean by that is those who maybe go to something else to numb the pain, or to pick up a habit like vaping or tobacco or something else. I once heard you say that alcohol was the lesser evil for you. And so even at one point that was a replacement in a sense. So just talk to me about that and just your opinion on replacement, if you think it's good or bad.
So my personal take on it is, you clip off the lowest hanging fruit first. And I wanted to shed, like I just wanted to heal. So I wanted to get rid of anything that was keeping me from healing. So if I, for my particular situation, it was drugs and alcohol. So if that was causing me problems in my life, that's what was creating chaos and not creating peace, because I love the phrase peace at any price. So I have to cut off what's causing the chaos, and that was drugs and alcohol. So, man, a lot of folks come in, they got a ton of going on, smoking cigarettes, whatever, name it, porn, lust and cheating on their spouse, and they're alcoholics. Dude, clip the worst one first. Work on that first, and then we can talk about the other things. But that's my personal opinion. The program, there's a great book called Drop the Rock. And Drop the Rock is great because it calls people like me out, where I can drink the shit out of black coffee now because I don't, it's like I want something, and it's probably not good for my health. And, but I'm not drinking today. I'm not drinking alcohol. So for me, that was what I needed to do. And I got one day. This one is not causing me to get a DUI. It's not causing me to get arrested. It's not ruining my family. So yeah, I'm okay with the that is not burning my life down. I'm okay for now, today.
Talk about relapse.
Yeah, it's so there, or in my program, there's what are called white chip wonders or one chip wonders. One chip wonder, I believe, is what it is, and that's somebody who joins the program and they never drink again. They never relapse.
Wow.
And you'll hear it said you don't have to relapse. It's not a requirement. I personally needed to, and I think a lot of folks do. I've got friends that they're like, I've got a drawer full of them. So, it's not something to brag about, but at the same time, it's good to hear, because it's okay. And the cool part about these programs are you can go out and you can do more research, and you come back in and you will be embraced with loving arms. There's not any shame. I see it all the time, and it's walking through that shame enough times that where you don't want that anymore, even though, like, I know there's no shame from their perspective on me, but for me, walking back in after I white chipped, I felt guilt, shame, remorse. I felt like I let people down that were investing time into me and effort and love, and all I did was throw it back in their face. And so for me personally, and I had to do it. For me, it's part of the process. But I think the more, and this is funny, early sobriety, I didn't value myself enough. I didn't care if I white chipped. I didn't care about drinking myself. I cared more about what the people in the rooms thought about me. So as selfish as that sounds and strange, it was so good to have accountability. And that's why it works to have this program or a community, because you've got accountability. For this alcoholic, I had to have that. If it was just me and nobody knew I was trying to quit, no wonder why it didn't work when I was just me.
Talking about your wife and Lauren after white chipping, did she know? Did she know later? What was her reaction to that and her response?
Yeah. I'm trying to think about the earliest ones. I don't even know. I probably never even told her about the first one because it was so normal, right? To just, cool, I went to a meeting and then I drank vodka after it. And that was just normal at the time. So she knew about the later ones I would tell her about because I felt like I was actually starting to make some progress and that, hey, man, I actually might be able to stop drinking.
What was that like for you when you realized that, hey, I might actually be able to stop drinking?
Yeah, it's a funny feeling. I still didn't believe it. I still was like, it's,
You yourself didn't
no, I didn't
believe it.
No, I still felt like it's cool. I feel good. I'm getting the pink cloud is what we call it. Like, oh, this is funny. Just to think back to this is, I always told people, in my addiction for 20, 25 years that I didn't dream at night. I just went to sleep and I woke up and nothing really happened. And in the first like week or two, I started having crazy vivid dreams. It's like my brain was just catching up. So that was like part of the pink cloud is like, I'm starting to experience some things in life that I've never thought I could experience. Yeah, so that's going down a whole another tangent, I'm sure. But yeah, those early days, there's so much change that happens. I started to realize, wow, I might be able to actually do this. Even though I didn't believe it, I still wasn't like committed. I was still expecting that, hey, maybe I'll do this for a few months and get everybody off my back, and then I can just go back to drinking normally. And that's a funny little game in our recovery programs.
Okay, so let's talk about sponsor for a second. How important is it? Obviously, you have a sponsor that's the right flavor for you. How do I get a sponsor? And do I cycle through multiple sponsors before I find the right flavor? And what happens if I don't like my sponsor? Can I get a new one? Because clearly this mentor has been a significant part of your personal journey. I mean, you said you give him credit. So I'm just curious. Talk to me about the sponsorship and how that works.
Yeah. For my sponsor, I was recommended to him. But it doesn't have to go that way. You can select your own sponsor based on, if you sit in a meeting and hear something that that resonated with you. At the end of the meeting, they give you a chance to, they say, hey, if you're interested in sponsoring people, please raise your hand. And, if you're seeking a sponsor, go see one of these people. So hopefully you heard something that, resonated with you and you want to select one, but, yeah, you're not stuck with that sponsor. That's good and bad because in early sobriety, you can't really give alcoholics a bunch of rules, because they'll want to rebel, just personal opinion. So the only requirement for my particular program is you have the desire to stop drinking. So there's not a lot of rules, but, one of the unsaid rules is, yes, you can switch sponsors. So, yeah, I think speaking with a sponsor, sometimes we have just, really run of the mill conversation. Hey, how's your day? What's your day like? And then sometimes we get on like a 45 minute or an hour lengthy conversation, in depth. So yeah, that's just part of the game is speaking with your sponsor, letting them know, because earlier on, I can remember when I was not being honest, open, and willing to share my with him. That's when I would set myself up to relapse. Can
people be successful in a program or in recovery without a sponsor?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. My personal opinion is I needed a sponsor, and I would say the majority of people do. You're missing so much of the program. It's almost like working the program it's like being in the program without working the steps. Yeah, you can maybe stay sober, but I don't know that you're going to get what you could get out of it. And that's like the big thing to sobriety. And it's like dropping the stuff that that is causing you to be in the place you're at, and possibly accepting who you could be. Like you just got to drop some of this stuff and you could be somebody great. It's kind of similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's shift. I'm curious in terms of when you approach recovery and you're in recovery, what's it like for you to experience things like vacation that you just mentioned and other milestone moments or going on a boat with your friends, etc., where you used to drink and consume alcohol and now for the first time you're not?
I had to go through all these life experiences once to prove to myself that I can do it sober. I've just been so programmed. And I think, anybody watching that is an addict or alcoholic, we're programmed like for so many years to just think it's it's expected. It's a ritual. I don't know that I've had a sober Christmas since I was probably 12, before recovery. So you just have to go through it one time to prove to yourself, I can do it. And I can actually enjoy it. That's the crazy part. Like, this past weekend I was on the lake, with a friend that's actually in sobriety as well. Which how I met him, I didn't even know he was in my program, but he's a couple cities away and he goes to a different meeting than I do. So we struck up kind of a relationship that way. So, our families were on the boat together and just having a great time. And it was my first time on the lake, not having to worry about a DUI, not having to worry about the lake police. We call them DNR. The lake police, pulling us over and trying to figure out how to get out of that. And, so like I could enjoy my time with my kids and my family and my friends for the first time ever. Like that's the happy, joyous, and free part is you don't have to live like that. But I know the crazy part is like for anybody watching, like you might feel the same way I did. Like, hey, nobody ever told me I don't have to drink. You don't ever have to drink again. It's the craziest thing. And when I really started to understand that, like, hey, I can do it and I don't have to do it, why would I do it?
And it's the lengths that you go to, right, to prevent the DUI. So the experience is different in terms of your brain pattern and what your brain is used to doing. You're almost not able to enjoy yourself as an alcoholic because you're constantly obsessing over how much you're going to drink, what you're going to do when the boat police are there, and how to avoid getting the DUI versus being able to truly enjoy it, and all that sort of sheds away.
That's the chaos that we love. We love to try to, man, part of the whole day used to be, let's plan having enough liquor. Let's plan having enough drugs to bring. What if we run out? Okay, let's have a plan to back all that up. And now it's like you can live in the moment, like you don't have to do all that. And you start to see what kind of chaotic life you were living. But until you get out of it, you don't even know it's there. You have no clue how many rocks you're carrying around right now until you get sober. And then all of a sudden you start to feel it and you're like, wow, now I see like you can just go to the lake and not drink. And it's that easy. I don't know, you have to experience it to understand it, I guess.
How do you function when you're in a situation where other people are drinking?
Like true alcoholic fashion, I went on a trip with the same guys when I white chipped at 6 months.
Okay.
Same guys I went on that trip with and drank with. I went on a trip about a month ago with them. This was a little bit more active though. Like we were going to experience, out west and, do some really active stuff. And that's true alcoholic fashion. Like try to put yourself in a bad spot. But this time, man, like I've just been so grateful to have had the obsession taken from me. For me personally, it was not difficult. Because I've lived enough days now where I understand now alcohol and drugs wanted nothing good for me. There's nothing good. I'm of no service to anybody and I'm of no service to God if I'm drinking. So once I started to really live that and understand that, there's nothing, I don't want to drink. I can see people, they can, I can't. And understanding that little philosophy.
They can, I can't.
Yeah, that's it. It's that simple. Again, one of those like simple things. They can drink normally. Like, and then, towards the latter part of my addiction, I had gotten to a point where, just thinking about drinking normally, if, for instance, my wife and I were to go, to dinner with friends or whatever, obviously there'd be drinking there. So I had the pregame, I had to drink a ton before I went. While I was there, I wouldn't enjoy it because I had to drink normally. So I was not really much fun when I was there. And then when I got home, I'd probably drink when I got home. So like, that's the kind of mentality of like an alcoholic. Like it's never enough. And even when you can be drinking, if you're having to drink normally, what's the point in that? Like, you're not happy. So that's a big piece of what I experienced to know, wow, yeah, I think I might need some help.
Okay. When it comes to your relationships in recovery, how has your recovery impacted your relationships with people who may have been cause or encouragement to sit in addiction? And are those people still in your life? Have they left your life? And how are the relationships, like, for example, with your mom and dad in recovery?
I kept people around me with intentionality. Like when I was selling drugs, for instance, I kept yes men around me on purpose. All they wanted me to do was, be who I was, doing the things I was doing. And they were not going to stop me because they were yes men. And it was perfect. Nobody would call me out. So I did that on purpose, and now, having accountability, that's so important because I've got community now that will call me out on anything. And so that's the difference. Like, today I'm sober. Back then I was not. And that's not their fault. It's my fault. As an addict or alcoholic, you want to look better than others. So keeping, not great people around you, man, it's easy to look good. Right. So yeah, it's not putting down people in my past. I hung around great people even when I was doing that. My business partners in that game, were cream of the crop, great humans, and they're not even addicts. Like, that's the funny part. Somehow I became the addict. Yeah. So it's funny how that turned.
Okay. Let's talk about your business. Did you have your business when you were an addict? Did you not? What was the inception, and how, what's it like today in recovery?
Yeah.
And what is your business called?
So it's Caldwell List Company. Yeah, got the mug.
The border.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's funny how that's come to be. So it was actually a company started by my grandpa, Will Caldwell, back in 1968.
Wow.
When I started working for my parents back in 2008, I think a big piece of it was I just needed to show legal income, which is funny to share that with the world. And then it's funny, I found God a few years after that. I found my God, who I call Christ. He got me out of selling drugs, and, through just a long line of happenings, I'll say. So what started as me just needing a W-2 for legal income, when I shedded that part of my life and the drugs, the company really started to make money. And some call it coincidence. I think there's more to it. I have to believe that, because when I let go of that portion of my life, all of a sudden this other portion of my life started really producing. So yeah, I took over the company with intent to just, have something that looked legit. And then it really ended up, that's what's providing for me today. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about what Caldwell List Company does.
Yeah. So we are a data broker, for marketing purposes, typically. But yeah, so we typically resell big national data compilers, information. So if you want to market your product, if you're a business and you want to market your product, we typically can tell you what the best source is to use for any particular need. So we, in some cases it's just reselling basic, consumer or business data, email contacts of somebody you want to see your product, or sometimes it's deriving really particular information that companies want. So we just, we kind of have become passionate about finding particular data. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you love what you do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's great. And you work with all kinds of different businesses,
Yep.
is my understanding.
Yep.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
So you're grateful.
Yeah, totally grateful, man. It's life's good. Life's good when it's like free, when I'm not bound. I can truly enjoy life and I'm not living buzz to buzz and day to day. Like I'm truly living with a purpose. Caldwell's great because it funds my purpose. I can come and do things like this. Like it's just amazing. And if I can help other alcoholics or addicts along the way, man, there's plenty of people more qualified than I am. But I'm happy to do it. Like it's a passion of mine.
Will you ever become a sponsor, Peter?
Yeah, I will. I will when I feel like I'm qualified, which I don't know that you ever do. But yeah, I think I've still got some work to do before I can really trust myself with somebody else's sobriety.
Yeah. Okay. Are there rules and regulations around when you can become a sponsor in your program, or is it more a heart
I
thing?
think it's just you need 6 months. That could just be I wish I knew the handbook on that. But yeah, I mean, to be able to lead a discussion like in a meeting, or to be able to chair it. So there's a chairperson and a discussion leader. You need 6 months of sobriety, which I do that. I love doing that. That's a way of service in the program. And you can just come up with, topics to discuss for the day or whatever. But sponsorship, I think that also might be 6 months. But yeah, I still don't feel ready, even though, I don't know, who knows?
Well, you describe yourself as being in early recovery. Is that a personal choice? And when will you become a veteran?
That's a good question. I just look at my mentors and role models that I see in the meetings. And I hear guys that are, 3 or 4 years in and they still say early sobriety. So I'm going to keep saying early sobriety. I wish I had a better answer, but I kind of just look at the guys I look up to and I'm like, all right, if you're early, I'm still way early. So yeah.
Understood. Okay. So I'd like to end on gratitude, and for you to just talk to me a little bit about the importance that gratitude plays in your daily disciplines in recovery, and really where you learned the strength of that perspective for our viewers today.
So gratitude, man, it's that program that's knocking your ego down. And gratitude is what gets you there. I think, being grateful for the little things that I've always just taken for granted. Having gratitude when I just lift my head off the pillow in the morning of like, I'm waking up without a hangover. Even if I was up in the middle of the night with my kids, or they had my wife up and woke me up 3 times, whatever, I'm still not waking up with a hangover. Life is so much easier, and it's funny how difficult I made it for so many years. So just waking up with that perspective, I've just got gratitude to be alive, for some of the things I lived through. I truly believe like I'm where I'm supposed to be right now, and I'm here for a purpose. So I'm kind of tired of like wasting it, like I had wasted it. And so gratitude comes easy for me right now. And I hope it stays that way, because I see people, in the world or even in my program that don't have as much gratitude. And that's not the kind of sobriety I want. Like I want the sobriety of the folks that are living it and breathing it. And I think gratitude is what really shows through for that.
That's great. Peter, thank you for the conversation today. Where can people find your information? What's your website? Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, that's, if you need data or leads, even though, sharing this it's not my intent, but, it's at www.caldwell-list.com, and the dash like a hyphen. So Caldwell, CALD. So
thank you, Peter.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, folks, for joining part 2, our episode today with Peter Lachnicht, alcoholic in recovery. Fascinating episode. We're so grateful. If you or someone you know is in need of an ignition interlock device, please visit www.smartstartinc.com. You can get your first 2 payments free with coupon code STIGMA free. Again, thank you for joining. I'm Morgan Ryan.